Well, October walks look quite different. And for some reason, as I've got older, I've found that I feel the cold more than I ever used to when I was younger. Why that is, no idea. But certainly if I get cold in my ears, it gives me a cracking headache. So I tog up. I've got one of these elasticated scarf things. It's quite good. I can pull it up over my mouth, my nose, my ears if I need to, if it gets windy or snowy or something like that. So we said we'd talk a little bit more about health for modelers. So we talked previously about the benefits of going for a walk from the point of view of getting your bowels moving and all of that sort of stuff. But there are other benefits to a walk. So the latest science says that people focus too much on step count and not enough on quality of walk. There's so much information out there, it's hard to know what is the best thing to follow. But the latest science is saying that the 10,000 steps that somebody created and wasn't science-based is misleading. So why is that? Because people count 10,000 steps by putting something on the wrist or the phone in the pocket and just counting general movement. Well, all movement's good, of course, for a whole variety of reasons, but actually it's a bit like counting calories. It's a bit of a red herring. It's about quality. So the latest science says a 15-minute continuous walk every day can reduce your risk of heart disease and stroke down to about 4%. So I do between 20 minutes and half an hour as a rule. I try and go a bit longer at the weekend if I can find time. So yeah, now if I think about my grandfather, he died of COVID in a nursing home, and he was 101 years old, getting on nearly 102, 6 months off 102. If he hadn't died of COVID, he would have been going another 2 years probably at least. Now, one of the features that I remember the most about him was walking. He did it every day. Continuous walking, enjoyed his walks. And when I look at what he ate, obviously born in 1918, he'd grown up on a fairly basic diet, then a Navy diet, which would have been higher calories, but it would have been basic food. So when my grandma died in the 80s, and he looked after himself thereafter, he cooked basic food, but he ate a lot of the wrong things. So his breakfast was always toast, marmalade, porridge. You know, it was all the wrong things from a blood sugar point of view. His lunch was usually cheese, bread, maybe ham, a tomato, something like that. Fairly basic, but lots of things that people would consider to be wrong to eat now. Although the science around cheese is changing, interestingly. And so when it came to teas, it was usually some form of meat, 2 vegetables, potatoes. Again, a lot of modern thinking on eating would say that's not really the right thing to do. And I come back to the walking, because he would walk at least once a day, twice if he possibly could. And certainly his routine later in life was to go for a walk twice a day. And that that didn't stop even when he was really too frail to walk. Even in the nursing home, he was using his walker to walk around the nursing home. And so he kept active in that way. So he would do a walk up to White Ponds and back was his shortest basic walk, which would take about half an hour. And it was slightly uphill to start with and then walking back. And he'd do that at a good pace, so the heart was going. So he did that every day. And he didn't have weight problems. He didn't have problems with being able to move around. You know, he didn't have joint issues. He didn't have muscle issues. He didn't have heart issues. He got thin and he got frail because he wasn't eating enough at times, and because old age was catching up with him. What's really interesting though is that when he became too old to bother to cook for himself, he started buying in pre-made food that he could then heat in the microwave, and he enjoyed it. But then he started getting symptoms that you characterise as IBS. He had a lot of stomach issues, and the last couple of years of his life was characterised about complaints about his stomach. Even once in the nursing home, because of course the nursing home is trying to do everything on the cheap because they haven't really got the funding properly. And so a lot of that was processed food. So his health took a real downturn with the processed food. So if I look at that as my template for life, then I have to go with a combination of what suits me and what the science says. And I try and follow the science and not social media. Okay, I know this is social media, but I'm sharing with you my thoughts on it. So that you have something to think about. And I think all of us know as we get older that we start focusing a little bit more on our health, and that's all good and what have you. But even when you're younger, you need to think about it, because you can avoid some of the complications later in life by looking after yourself when you're younger as well. So this is my, you've been familiar walk for you. I've been on this one before, Shady Lane. Quick 20 minutes. It's not raining today, which is nice. It's relatively quiet. It's about 8:15, but it's school holiday, so there's a lot less traffic. This road would be a lot busier when the schools are in. But yeah, 15-minute walk. We can all do that. Doesn't matter where we live. Doesn't matter what your surroundings are. Go for a walk around your housing estate, whatever it is, we can do that. I mean, I see my neighbours get in the car and drive to the shop, which is a 10-minute walk away. A simple thing like walking to the shop makes all the difference. At work, I take the stairs, not the elevator. That's not about the walking exercise, but it does get the heart going a little bit. But it's about keeping the joints moving, because I'm sat all day for work, and I'm sat when I'm doing my hobby. I only really stand when I'm cooking or boiling the kettle. So this is my only real movement. Now I do other things to exercise the top half. I've had a frozen shoulder twice. It ain't pleasant. So I'm determined to avoid ever having that again. So I do some exercises with a band, like a rubber band thing that was given to me by the physio, and that helps a lot. But I think there is basic things that you can do that can make a real difference to your health without actually fundamentally changing your lifestyle. So I'm going to show you a little food hack. It's the easiest hack in the world that everyone can do. That'll be the next video, which will be a lot shorter, but just a little food hack to help you, because what we now know is in the modern diet, most people are not eating enough fibre, not eating enough nuts and seeds. So sources of fibre and protein are dropping. Now, I know with my Zoe app where I am most of the time, and I know when I'm making a bad choice that I'm making a bad choice, and I know how it's going to react on my body. But most people don't have that. Most people perhaps don't even want to do that. But it's a simple thing. So without even changing your diet, you can improve it, which sounds strange, but you can. So we'll be talking about that in the next little health update video and thoughts on health. The biggest challenge comes to a more healthy lifestyle when you're not at home, actually, because you don't have the control. So I'm about to go to Telford. Telford is the weekend after next as I'm recording this. So that means I've got a breakfast that someone else has made, and I've got to eat out at a pub for tea. And whilst I'm sure I can find something that's enjoyable, finding something that's healthy will be almost impossible. Even the things that you think are healthy won't be. So you will go for a vegetable curry. Yeah, I've got no meat. I'm doing all the vegetables, blah blah. But the processed sauces and stuff just wipe out the benefits. So I know that I will have a bad weekend at Telford. You know, what will my lunch be at Telford? A pasty, you know, processed meat, processed sauce, saturated fat pastry. You know, the best thing I'll be having over that weekend is likely to be a black coffee. So yeah, I've been thinking about whether I can do something, take something with me that's a bit more healthy, and I might try and look at that. If I come up with something, I'll let you know. Because I'm just entering my Telford planning stage now. Right then, so there we go. 20-minute walk a day for me, over 15 minutes every day, has greater benefits than some. But I'm the prime age for a stroke. So I'm 55. Most people, if they're going to have a stroke, and in the UK it's about 100,000 people a year, you're going to have a stroke before you're 65. So the things that are most likely to give you a stroke is high blood pressure, and that comes from inactivity, too much salt in your food, of which processed food's got tons of it. I don't add salt to my food, the exception of mushrooms and when I'm cooking pasta. But I have meds to manage my blood pressure, which I've reduced a lot, because a lot of my stress came from my first marriage. So managing stress is really important, and that's the other benefit of a walk. It is a de-stress. Now, I've not slept well. I woke up at 4 o'clock last night, having a conversation in my head about something I need to talk about in work in 2 weeks' time. It happens occasionally. I don't know whether it's my autism or just me, who knows. But I'm going to be tired today, which means that I'm much more likely to have a migraine today, so I'm not going to feel so great. So I won't be doing any modelling, that's for sure. But I still have jobs I've got to do. I've still got to cook tea. I've got to do the shopping list ready for the grocery shop tomorrow. You know, so there's still things I have to do. So I'll be very tired by the end of the day. So I thought I'd go for my walk now while I'm most energised, reap those benefits now, de-stress and declutter my head before I start work. I'm actually starting work a bit later today because I've got to finish later, so I'm starting later, and we'll see how the day goes. So Yeah, you still have to take every day as it comes. When you've got families and you've got things changing all around you all the time, it's difficult to keep a set routine day in, day out, so you do have to be a bit adaptable. So I would have normally have gone for my walk later in the day today. It's one of my days to have Alice this week, and I would have normally gone and picked her up after school, but I would have had to have dropped her off at school and then gone into work for the day, and that's when I get my least exercise. So grabbing this walk this morning, it's out of normal routine from a Tuesday, but I'm grabbing the benefits while I can, because I know after I've had lunch I'm likely to not feel up for it, so doing it while I can. So yeah, short walk has loads of benefits, and for me that works from home, home can get a bit like a prison if you're not careful, so it's nice to get out of the house and see something different to the four walls of the kitchen I spend most of my waking hours in. So yeah, anyway, there we go. I think that's it for this one. So thanks for joining me. There's more thoughts on health coming as I pull together things that I think are of interest and relevance, and I have an understanding of what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's keep going, keep being healthy, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.